Welcome to the Football Exponential Show. I'm Chika and I'm joined by Frank.
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the show. Thank you for joining us.
Frank, I know you couldn't wait for the international break to be over.
No.
You just couldn't
Counting down the days, just anticipating the return of domestic football. But well, I'm happy we're back, and
wait.
we came back with there were some interesting results yesterday in the Premier League.
Yeah. So yesterday was we had a very big games. Yesterday we had like four or five big games. Let's go with the first one. For the first time in I think since 1959 or
1969.
since 1969.
Yeah,
Nottingham Forest were able to get a win at Anfield against Liverpool, and it
yeah,
was a very well deserved win. And
yeah.
if you if you if you are if you've been following, you will, this reminded me of the first day I watched his Valencia side. I remember that was 2014. I think it was against Real Madrid. I could still remember. It was dogged. He finished in the top four, but he was sacked the next season. They weren't all that good. But when it comes to maintaining defensive, they know they are compact, they overachieve. He did that in Wolves. But the problem is that with such managers, and that is why I keep telling people, the problem with such managers is that you keep seeing that so much that you get bored, and you just like West Ham and David Moyes. David Moyes is just that
X.
sort of manager.
Yeah,
Manager
yeah.
also. Sean Dyche is that sort of manager. Marco Silva is that sort of manager. They don't really. They could get big wins against big teams, but the team doesn't play attractive football. Because if you look at his lineup, I looked at the lineup. I'm looking at he bench Hudson Odoya, bench Elanga, and
We'll talk
started.
about it. We'll
Yeah.
talk about because I feel that was I feel in terms of tactical plan that was a master stroke on the day.
Are you serious? Okay. So now,
Yeah.
what do you have
So
to say about the win? As regards for the both sides. Let's go with
okay,
Nottingham Forest first. Yeah.
just
Or
Nottingham
Liverpool.
Forest. Because I think let's go Nottingham Forest because you have to obviously give them the credit for
Yeah.
the. It's not. It's a massive win.
Excuse
Just
me, if
like
you're
going.
watching us and you are enjoying what you are seeing, just smash the like button, follow us, ask questions, drop comments. Just smash the like buttons. Yeah. Frank,
Yeah.
continue.
Yeah, so like because I think after the game, Nuno was he praised his players for following the tactical plan. And if you saw the game, or if you saw the highlights of the game, it was exactly that. Because Nottingham Forest were very compact, they were aggressive, they were brave, they were. I think tactically, it was a brilliant tactical plan. They closed down Liverpool's passing lanes. They were very tight, narrow, but they also they defended amazingly, especially the two fullbacks and the two centre backs were standout on the day, and the introduction of Callum Hudson-Odoi and Antonio Langa in the second half.
They changed that.
That's that gave a counter attack a more direct and pace on the counter attack against Liverpool. But I feel with Liverpool, it's one of those performances you get after an international break
Yeah.
where I feel on a slot. If he looks back at it, I feel I probably should have made maybe one or two changes to freshen up the lineup because it's an unchanged lineup from that previous game before the international break against Manchester United. So with players traveling far and wide, especially the South American players, Luis Diaz, McAllister
It looked
coming back.
like their first half against Ipswich.
Yeah,
Like
it was quite. They didn't. It was quite leggy. They didn't have. I feel they didn't really have a lot of creative ideas to break down Nottingham Forest. They were quite predictable in a way. I feel players like Diaz, Salah, and I've never seen Salah give, especially in the second, Salah was giving the ball away for fun. He
yeah, it
couldn't
was,
beat a man, he couldn't find a cross, his shots were not clicking. So it just seemed like one of those days where just you didn't really have the idea or the plan to get past a solid defensive block from Nottingham Forest. And I also feel where Liverpool lost the game was in the second half when the new manager Arne Slot made a few changes where he took off certain players and brought on introduced players like Nunes and Gakpo. I felt, and he switched Trent Alexander-Arnold from right back into midfield position, and I felt Trent didn't quite know where he was playing. was he playing as a six or was he playing as an eight or number 10? So he kept in a way he had this freedom that second half to roam in that midfield position, but that gave Forest the space to counter attack, and that's when you see once that happens, you see Nuno reacts instantly and brings on Callum Hudson-Odoi and the Langa, and they counter Liverpool directly from those situations, and they started creating. Not there were a couple clear cut chances, but not really clear. But they became more of a threat on the counter attack. And as the game got on, they grew in confidence, and you see Elanga and the chill Callum Hudson-Odoi they combined for the winning goal, which I felt was brilliant play from Callum
What
Hudson-Odoi.
brilliant.
It was
Reminded me of the Hudson Doyle I was in Chelsea, like that they
from
expected.
Chelsea,
But
yeah,
the first
exactly.
time you lift
Chelsea,
it up from here.
the
Because
Chelsea, and
when you put the ball at the back of the net, it's like it was so easy. The way
it
he
was
did that.
so it was a masterful finish where
Because he
you
used Konata
see
as a shield. He used Konata as a
exactly
shield and then
exactly it's exactly so you see it's a very and for him and with him I'm just happy like another player I'll talk about later Sancho. I'm just happy he's found a home where he can play consistently and show his talent. So I'm really glad for Callum Hudson-Odoi. But for Liverpool, they go down, and there's just this lack of invention to create chances, lack of control they had. And look, if anything, they were more they were more likely to concede the second goal against Forest. But it's I feel like this is it's not panic stations yet for Liverpool, but it's a warning sign that shows despite the fantastic start they've had, and this is their first considered their first goal of the season in this loss. It shows there's still work to be done in
it's not
attacking
considered any
areas.
goal.
No, that goal was the first goal they considered this season.
Oh, hold on. They've played
They played
Manchester United, Ipswich,
Manchester
who's the
United,
third person.
Ipswich, and Brentford. That was so yesterday was the first goal they considered.
Oh,
So
oh.
it's not a situation where you would panic, but I feel it will then ask questions about the fringe players in the squad, the likes of Gakpo, Nunes, and what exactly they bring to the team in terms of when we need when we need to rely on players off the bench. Because we saw with Chelsea yesterday where Sancho and Christopher Cole come off the bench, they have an impact instantly and they get the win for Chelsea. But with these players, okay, how can we manage the squad better going forward, especially with European competitions coming back? But it's not all bad for Liverpool. It's still an impressive start so far, all things considered. I feel we'll see how they react to this win, to this defeat going forward. But I feel with not back to Nottingham Forest, I feel the two centre backs were amazing on the day.
They had
Nikola Milenkovic.
Milos.
Nikola Milenkovic he's a very
The
he's an
Serbian guy last
experienced.
of Fiorentina, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm quite sure I'm quite surprised. I feel that's an outstanding signing for Nottingham Forest, where you get a player of that experience in Syria for the last 7, 8 years, where he's been a mainstay in that Fiorentina side that have gone on to win, no, well, gone on to play in European finals in the UEFA Conference League. He's been a very consistent performer for them, and I'm quite surprised a team like Nottingham Forest got him
Cost him and
for
there's
this
nobody
amount.
out. Yeah, sometimes
Because I was watching him yesterday. I was like, damn, Chelsea can do with a player like this. Because he was solid, he was aggressive, he was strong in duels, clearing the ball, area duels as well. He also played.
there's another centre back. I'm surprised nobody went for in Bournemouth. He's on the bench, but he's good. I think he's Swedish.
Yeah, yes,
Juventus.
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
exactly, yeah, yeah.
Sorry, HGU or something like that. But you see,
Hudson, yeah,
honestly, yeah,
yeah,
he replaced is it Senesi or Zabinya one of the games. The first game of the season he started and
he was impressive.
you
He
know
was
he's not
impressive.
ready yet, but you also know I don't know
That's yeah,
what really happens. Yeah.
that's
Continue.
talent. And also the fullbacks, our Nigerians, Nigerian side, Ola was fantastic. He was fantastic yesterday.
Alex Moreno was a good because he was in Villa and he
He
did
was
very,
Villa,
very good towards the end of last season when he came in last 2 seasons, but he had
yeah,
injuries and he was never the same. He was never the
yeah,
same. But when I realized they have a good team, look at their midfield and I look at Sam
I,
Thompson. I'm like, why didn't they bring back
exactly.
Ward-Prowse? Like I've been thinking that
It's
like
true. It's true. It's true.
what
It's like because it's a loan. You can bring it back.
it doesn't take time
He's
to
a
fit into the
yeah.
system. Even alone also. So you can partner. I was looking at them like so he's there and they had him. They had Yates who has
Anderson,
been there,
they
and
had
they have
Brian Yates, they had Anderson they got from Nottingham Forest, so I feel has been impressive this season as well.
they're
So
supposed to tell him Newcastle
yeah,
United.
but with because like I know I think in our one of our season previews where I tipped Nottingham Forest to struggle for relegation places this season. But I feel in terms of the overall squad depth they have, where you have players like Alanga, Callum Hudson-Odoi on the bench, and you have a striker like Chris Wood that scores goals at that level, and Nigerian star Anwi used to come in as well. It's a very good squad, and if you compare that to the other clubs that are going to be in that area of that bottom five, bottom four, fighting
That
for
is where I
relegation,
feel that they have the edge over Fulham
yeah,
because they have
and
Awumi and they have Woods who are like for like. It's like you're playing the same
yeah,
team. They unlike Fulham that the two strikers are hot and cold. Jimenez and the other guy Munir.
yeah,
Like you understand what I'm trying to say. And I'm sorry, I keep bringing Southampton also. I looked at them. We'll get to Southampton. Let's finish with Nottingham
yeah,
Forest. So
yeah,
it was a good. This is what he keeps doing. Although it took him some time to do it because he took over from Steve Cooper, who I so much rate. But Cooper's side is not as defensively solid as
yeah,
Liverpool.
exactly. But
People
Nuno's
allow
side is not, but Nuno's side is not as interesting to watch as Cooper
Cooper,
side.
yeah, 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 yeah.
But I think it's important to get that balance right, especially because let's be honest, like Forest, we expect Forest to fight
But the
for
two
those.
are coaching a perfect side for their styles because if you look at Leicester, he has Mavidi,
Yeah,
Vidi
yeah,
or
I agree.
whatever. He has Vardy, who you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Unlike
exactly.
unlike the other side, that is only a Langa and Hodgson that play the style that Cooper wants.
Yeah,
I tip them. Well, even if they finish in the second table, that's the table is 10-10 the second half, but maybe 12, 13, 14. They are a good side, and
yeah, like,
it's a very massive that is away from home because I know they are very
yeah.
good at home. Yeah, they are very very good at
It's
home, and they've had
they
people
will.
doing in the center of the field. They have Shangara
Yeah,
is up. Somebody else is injured.
Sangare and yeah, the
Ibrahimovic.
Brazilian midfielder is out for a long time. So I feel Nottingham Forest will take points off a lot of good teams this season, especially away from home on the counter attack and when you sit back, you're resolute. And in the Premier League, we all know this whole if you don't take your chances, and as the longer the game goes on, there are a
Yeah.
lot of teams in the league that have fantastic players that can come off the bench or starting games that will just with one chance or just fantastic goal like Hudson showed yesterday can just snatch the points. But that's it. But on just one point, I just need to Gravenberch. I think he's so far he started the season well, but I felt yesterday it was one of the few times where a team had a plan on how to nullify his effect in this Liverpool midfield, where you had Morgan Gibbs White sitting on Gravenberch or shadowing him, where he didn't really give him that space on or time on the ball to find the passes into midfield to McAllister and to Bothroyd. Then get Liverpool ticking and creating chances for Salah and Diaz. So I feel it's we know the Premier League is a copycat league where a lot of teams next week teams that come up against Liverpool we study this tape against Nottingham Forest and see where they can adapt some of the tactical schemes Forest had. So I feel Gravenberg that's probably one of the chinks in the armor so far where if you can block his passing, if you can block his spacing and just overall trouble him on the day, you can disrupt Liverpool's play and you could get joy from that. And Sibosla, I'm still
So
sometimes
let me say something. I wanted to just get to that. I'm looking at Liverpool, right? Some people are unpredictable. I don't still rate Diaz highly.
yeah,
Understand? I rate Jota highly because I'm not saying who is better. Jota can give big goals and be
he
Jota can
finishes,
have
yeah.
a bad game, just 1 minute he scores, right? So I
Okay,
know what to expect from him. Diaz, I don't really know what to expect from him, but he has improved, right?
okay,
Then you're talking of Salah. Salah is Salah. Like Salah is Salah, right? But now
yeah.
I'm still looks like I know what I can get from McAllister. I'm looking at number one, the way he plays. He's an 8 or a 10, whatever you want to call it. But he doesn't create enough. So you're looking at him offsetting by scoring. So if he's not scoring for you, he's
He's
not a
not
natural
creating.
player. You understand what I'm trying to
I
say?
feel, yeah, I understand, but
At the
and
end,
I feel.
come in like that's it. I'm
I
thinking, yeah,
Yeah, but that's why I felt like talking about on the slot. That's why I felt he could have made a change. Probably take brought Sibosla a bit further back, then dropped McAllister. Not drop, but just rest him on the bench because of the long travels and his international games where he started 2 games for Argentina. But this way you bring if look at your bench, see if you give me a player like Curtis Jones. If you can
yeah,
come into this, if you can come into the team with more legs, more energy, more pace, and
yeah,
more inventiveness, or if you just or you start the game with because you know what Forest are coming to do, you sit deep, or you start the game with either Nunes or you bring on another attacker and just make it. I felt Liverpool they were too predictable for on the day, and I feel with Szoboszlai it reminds me a lot like a Messi Mount, where in games like this, especially against Nottingham Forest, where you need that player in that in the middle of the midfield to be
mhm,
creative, to be inventive, to find the pass, to find those passes that unlocks a tight backline like Forest had on the day. He just fell short in that aspect where he couldn't get his passing was off. He couldn't see the picture on how to break things down. And it's something that it is a player I feel like missing Mount where he shines in the bigger games against teams like United where he does a lot of work off the ball, pressing, winning the ball back, covering space. But ultimately the final pass or the final action, either it's shot chance creation or actually finishing, he's very inconsistent. And I feel for a player, because let's be honest, this is a player they bought for big money as well. And he's a player with wearing Liverpool's famous number 8 shirt. That's iconic,
mhm.
Steven Gerrard's iconic number. I feel I expect a lot more inventiveness from him, especially because you can't always rely on Salah, and Diaz is not always going to have those fantastic performances. And if Jota doesn't get enough chances, he ultimately won't score goals because he needs chances to score goals because he's one of the best finishers around. So it's a tough one, but as we said, it's not panic for Liverpool. It's just you go back to the drawing board,
But
you
also,
see where you
it's not panic, but it's a big caution because I kept saying they've not blown me out of the park or like against United, people kept saying they hammered United, and I said, but I kept saying that United could have still scored goals. The only
yeah,
problem is they didn't really control the game. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it just tells me that they are just getting results, and it's taking
yeah.
time to implement the ideas. Let's go to the next one quickly. Manchester City beat Brentford 2-1. And then Pep Guardiola had this to say about after the game that he hasn't seen anyone play as good as Brentford in the first 30 minutes. So,
No, wait, you know what? I have exactly the same quotes on my notes
oh,
about Pep
oh,
Guardiola and
yeah.
I feel how he praised Thomas Frank, and because we know Guardiola when he does this press conference where he's praising the manager, it's normally there's this joke that okay he's going to praise you for being a fantastic coach, your team plays fantastic, but he'll go on the pitch and beat you four,
Funny
five,
enough,
six.
funny enough, so
But
as a
yeah,
Chelsea fan,
yeah,
in seeing what because this is it, right? So I'm going to digress a little bit. The way I've started
yeah,
looking at football is totally different from how I used to look at it before, right?
yeah,
I'm no
yeah,
longer faced by big names, right? This is how I want to play. Now, I look at the data to tell me who plays the way I want to play. That's number one on my project. Then I try to connect the person and see the human element, how they behave, the stories about them, right? I
yeah,
the
yeah,
data first before the connection because there are so many places you can't connect with everybody at the same time, right? When they
yeah,
linked him to Man United, I'm not saying he's the best person, but the way people talk down on him, right? Is he good
yeah.
enough for United? It's possible he's not. But I keep saying, if you have a project, one thing I respect about the guy or Thomas Frank is I look at their midfield. They have like four Danish guys. Yane.
It's a very Danish heavy
What's
squad.
special about those guys? It's a
Well,
system.
but
Anyone
it's
he converted a right attacker, Roslev or something like that, to be playing
yeah,
defensive, to debutize for Ager or something. I think he's also Danish. I don't know the difference between those two guys when they are benched. You understand what I'm
yeah.
trying? He
I
had
understand,
one
I
guy,
understand.
I think he's a left back. That guy has been injured. Is he still at Brentford?
Rick, it's still injured. Rico Henry
I've
is
not
a
seen him
big
for a
miss.
long while. He had him. He's been
Yeah,
out. I don't know who's playing. All of a sudden, I never rated Visa, I never rated Mbuemo because we are all playing fancy football. All of a sudden, they are combining together. You understand what
And
I'm
being
trying to
productive.
say?
You understand?
The only
Understand?
problem I have with him, with the team, but I know with time he will get it, is that his two attackers are very skillful. I feel if he has a third person, because he had one German guy, Sashi, he hasn't, or Sade or
Shadi,
something.
yeah, Shadi hasn't really
He hasn't
convinced, in
really
my
got.
opinion.
But if he had someone that plays like the way, let's assume, let me give an example. Let's assume he had his hands on Neto, for example, the Chelsea Neto. You understand what I'm trying to say? Those sort of players that could do some
I
magic,
feel I feel with I know he's one player
or
that's gone
Langa
on.
or somewhere like that. Like,
Not even like that, but I feel like I wish they had, because when the transfer window was open, there was one player on the market that I felt a Premier League club could actually take a chance on, and that's Tammy Abraham. Where I felt a club like West Ham, Fulham, even Brentford, if they were trying to be more aggressive, where you should bring a player like Tammy Abraham into that team. I feel it takes you from a mid-table Premier League team to a top 10 Premier League team instantly. But with Thomas Frank, I feel I can't sing his praises enough. He's one of my favorite coaches, and he's a coach because from a Danish perspective, he's one of those coaches that I've followed a lot in terms of his rise from Danish football, from Danish under 19s head coach to Brentford, and how he's adapted this Brentford team from a championship to a very consistent and stable Premier League team now. I know last season was a bit of an off one, but he still find the way to stabilize the club. Compared for a team that they don't really spend much, they don't really have they don't even necessarily have a lot of players to even sell for big fees, except that on top who's gone for less than they expected, £40 million to Saudi Arabia. But I feel he's a manager that gets maximum efforts and his maximum abilities from the squad he has. He improves players consistently. He's shown he's improved players, and he's very adaptable, and I feel tactically he's one of the best managers around. And when you have Pep Guardiola, just not praising him for the sake of it, but actually praising him for that. Oh, you and your team today, you were this close to beating us. I know City had a lot of chances. Holland hit the post as well, but the tactical, I
that's
feel
why
the
last time
first,
he
I
goes
think,
to talk good
no, I
about
feel
people, he gives
yeah, and I
specific.
feel the first 15, 20 minutes yesterday is probably some of the best football you see against an opposition. It's probably the best football you see against Man City this season from an opposition team, where they were aggressive. They went for man to man press. They were pressing high up the pitch upward to the goalkeeper Ederson, and they disrupted City's fluidity. They asked a lot of questions from City. They scored the fastest goal of the season so far, 26 seconds, and they went on to have a couple other chances where they could have gone 2 goals up, or in fact 3 goals up, but City stuck and they're stuck in the game. But Guardiola being the master, this is why I feel the praise Guardiola gave Thomas Frank after the game is what makes Guardiola special. Because I feel these kind of games are the games where he enjoys the most. Well, okay, that my team is under pressure. I need to find a way to switch things around. And I see for the first time, you see Man City yesterday, they made 2 changes at halftime. It's very rare where you see, okay, he was okay. It's very, like you say, okay, you know what? Today we actually need Rodri to come off the bench and actually start his season now. Where he made that change with Rodri, he brought on Guardiola as well. Where you see them coming and improving the team. But ultimately, when you have a player like Erling Haaland up top, you just need to feed the beast. You just need to feed the
Yeah,
beast. You
yeah.
just need to feed the beast, and you see, and that's where the brilliance for Man City, where they can hit you. I think at some parts in the first half when they got that balance, where you see Henderson just hitting long passes, like just hitting
Mhm.
passes like a quarterback over the press, beating that press, and they got one where Haaland outmuscles his defender 1-on-1. There is through on goal, and another fantastic finish. But I also feel it's one of those where I feel he can be a bit disappointed, where he should have really got the hat trick on the day, or another hat trick on the day. But
Yeah,
with City,
yeah.
it shows that you can go at this team, and I wish more teams will have that confidence to actually go against them, be aggressive, press them on press, high press against them. I know it's very dangerous, but on a day like this, after an international break, you can catch them off and can put pressure on them. Where At points in the second half, Man City were trying to control the game, not actually come up, but they were trying to just see the game out because they knew
Mhm.
this. They knew it was a tough day for them. So from Brentford, I feel I don't know what the future holds for Thomas Frank, whether if he can get another job or a top job in European football. But I feel good jobs are going to be available every year at top clubs,
Good job,
and I
available.
and I feel he's got to a point where I feel he deserves a chance to show because we've seen the likes of even Enzo Maresca at Chelsea coaching a championship team, getting a Premier League job, or even Vincent Company at Bayern Munich and other managers. I feel he's one of those coaches that he brings a lot of value add to the club and he represents the club tactically and even in the media, how he talks and how he operates. I feel he deserves one of those chances to get a top job. Honestly, if Chelsea hadn't got Maresca, I would have loved Thomas Frank at Chelsea. No doubt.
Yeah, don't mind. I don't mind having him
Yeah,
at Chelsea. I don't know why people real. I'm looking more at the project because this is where you
yeah.
realize that people really watch ball to be attentive and think outside the box. When they were talking about the Brighton coach, like somebody's looking at him, oh, this is the coach from division, but you're looking at how he plays. You're looking at it's not. You understand what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say?
you see how he plays, and you see how. I also feel like nowadays it's also important to see how these coaches how they communicate in the media,
Yeah.
how they communicate to or how they deal with tough questions. Because like as you mentioned, the Brighton coach is a very young coach, but how he's navigated the Premier League so far has been fantastic.
Fantastic.
So
But
and he's
I'm not training as passions, but they're gonna be openings. Tottenham can be open at any time. The next 2 years, the next three years.
Chelsea,
Borussia
Chelsea
Dortmund,
United,
Borussia Dortmund also.
yeah.
I'm not.
There's
You understand what I'm trying to
I
say?
understand,
So
and
if I'm
I
not
agree with you.
at the end of 2 years' time or something, but because I know he's not going anywhere from Brentford, but he has to be careful to pick the right opportunity. Okay,
Yeah,
let's go to the next one. Chelsea, uh, play defeated Bournemouth. That was away at Bournemouth, right? At
yeah,
the
we are
Vitality
Bournemouth.
Stadium. Okay.
Yeah,
Away at the Vitality Stadium, it was 1-0 courtesy of man, that Nkunku goal was the finishing is something. It's really out of this world. Chelsea 1-0. So first of all, let me uh say something very, very ironic, right? I watched the game, so many things to talk about. I was impressed with a lot. First of all, shout out to Sanchez, the Chelsea goalkeeper, because you can't criticize someone every day, or you can't
yeah,
feel that he's not good enough, and you fail to give him credit when he was
yeah,
like,
yeah,
I just
yeah, yeah.
he can continue. Like it's not just the penalty save, but at least the way he was backing out results, instructions, and all those. That's
He
for
was in
me.
charge. He looked in charge yesterday.
Now let me
That's
go
what I
to
feel.
statistical part. I'll leave you to talk. I'll also talk about certain things. Vega playing in midfield, being good enough, and then Disasi, uh, the most important, not the most important thing, but something I noticed that is that's ironic is that I watch Chelsea, and I keep saying that is why sometimes it's difficult for me to criticize Enzo Fernandez because when you watch what he does on the field, he's the only Chelsea player that keeps calling for the ball. Give me the ball. You can criticize him for passing. Yeah, Jorginho used to
Jorginho had that same issue as well. Where you
yeah, but Enzo, the problem I have with Jorginho is Jorginho collects the ball, passes immediately. Enzo sometimes tries to move forward, or you understand what I'm trying to say. It's not as
yeah,
progressive as Fabregas. Maybe Chelsea fans have Fabregas in mind, but you look at yesterday and you look at the pass, you look at the midfield. The midfield was not in sync. Could Enzo have done
yeah,
better? Yes. It's also possible if he was in the game, they accuse him that he's the one that is making the team to struggle. So
yeah,
what I'm
exactly.
just trying to say is that Enzo, he still has a place in Chelsea's team. That's
Yeah,
first. Then secondly, funny enough, Enzo's uh, absence made it the sixth straight win Chelsea have recorded without him on the team or in the team.
and also it's
That's what
also
I'm saying.
important. Is it also no, but
But
it's
you
also
understand
important.
what I'm
I know,
saying? Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
also important to highlight Caicedo as well because it seems Caicedo. I know, like for me, I always Caicedo always plays most games at a 8 to 10 in my opinion. Some people will disagree, but I feel I feel on broadly, Caicedo seems to play better without Enzo on the pitch. I'm just talking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
Caicedo. I'm talking about Caicedo specifically. I know,
Actually,
I know Enzo makes the team better, but I feel Caicedo was incredible yesterday. He constantly was putting out fire as his teammates were starting, but it's an interesting one. Where I feel there's still a lot of work to be done on that midfield to get that balance right, where you're controlling games, but you're also able to be compact at the same time and not give away the opposition too much space to attack your goal. It was an interesting one with Caicedo.
yeah. Just give me your takes about the game. I have a lot to say. When you are done,
Okay,
I'll.
so I think like there's a quote from Maresca when I'm talking to the press where he said Chelsea it was a game of two halves. The first half they struggled, they didn't win enough duels and second balls. And this is very key because when you remember when Guardiola came to the Premier League at first, that was one of these initial findings in the Premier League where he felt to see that the Premier League is all about duels and second balls, where you have to win those second balls to control the game and ultimately dominate position and win those games. But I was very happy with the proactive substitution from the coach. I felt Chelsea were very Chelsea didn't play enough football in the first half. They just couldn't get going from the very first minutes up until the second half. They kept giving the ball away. There was no control. Players like Palmer, Madueke could not get into the game consistently. Neto had no rhythm. I think Jackson was one of the better attackers because he kept trying things and it was very notable to see a lot of players were very frustrated with each other in terms of their passing and they were making the wrong pass, wrong decisions, especially playing out of the back. And I feel Disasi was the biggest culprit of the day where he was that's one of the worst performances I've seen from any player in the Premier League so far this season. He just wasn't good on the day. But I felt like when you go in a halftime 0-0, and you also had the penalty save where there was a brain fart from Wesley Fofana, who I thought was good on the day, and Sanchez comes through for Chelsea with a fantastic save to keep that clean sheet. But you go in at the second half, it's come back in. It's still more or less the same thing that you make those changes where you bring on Sancho comes on at halftime, you bring
Mhm.
on Joao Felix, who wasn't impressive, but it was okay. He improved the overall technical level of the team in and the ball security, and you bring on a player
Hold
like
on,
Christopher.
sorry. Sorry to cut you short.
Yeah,
I bought at Dortmund. Does Sancho play on the left or on the right?
Dortmund was on the left.
By United, he played on the right. On that Ten Hag.
Yeah, it does. But even on that when it was on
Okay,
that day with
Rashford is the one playing. Oh, now I understand what
so
it.
so
Rashford
so
is the
so so
one
so,
taking.
so that so, so that was one of the main issues he had at United where he could not get a good run of games on that left hand side where he favored. Where I feel in his defense where if you have that partnership with him on the left and Luke Shaw overlapping, it could have helped. But that's by the side. But Sancho comes on, he then starts controlling the game, getting on the ball, trying to create a few openings. Chelsea gets a few decent chances. Jackson had a good shot that was just narrowly over the bar. Then ultimately Christopher Nkunku comes on and magic. He has that bit of brilliance where basically creates a chance out of nothing where he holds
Mm.
off a few defenders, beats another defender and he gets his shot off, places it to the bottom corner and Chelsea gets the win on the day. But I also feel in the grand scheme of things, this is one of those games where I felt Chelsea in recent years would have lost that game, would have comfortably lost that game by 2 or 3 goals. And in terms of the overall spirit of the team, where you're building something from scratch, where you have all these new young players with a new coach, you're trying to build a culture into this team. I feel this is one of those significant days where everyone learned, okay, we were not good today, but we dug in, we were resolute, we were solid, we kept a clean sheet. Our keeper, you expect your keeper to win you games like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you expect one of your strikers to come up with a moment of match-winning brilliance. So from that's positive. But another one is there's still a lot of work to be done in this Chelsea team. And I feel so far this season, I've not Chelsea all the games they played in Premier League and Conference League. We're yet to see a complete 90 minutes performance from Chelsea. It's always been, I guess City was second half was good, first half was not good. Same against Wolves, where it's a bit patchy in the first half, but second half you come out and you dominate. But I felt in the last 30 minutes yesterday, Chelsea were fantastic. The way they controlled the game, slowed down the tempo, moved the ball around, and players were just trying to find openings in the right way. So it was a very good rescue out from Chelsea and the coach as well. So I'm very happy with that, and I feel the overall spirit of Chelsea is it's building blocks. We have your Cole Fafana, that partnership is building. Sanchez is looking like a Chelsea number one, or he looked like a Chelsea number one goalkeeper yesterday. You have a lot of depth in the squad where you can bring on likes of Felix, Sancho, and Coco off the bench. Enzo is missing as well. No Lavia, no James. That's a lot of positive. But another point, I felt the referee yesterday was absolutely terrible.
That was
Anthony
15 really cards in the game.
Anthony Taylor 14 yellow card is a new Premier League record, and it's not one of those games that
The young guy, he used to be. I've never liked him.
no he has
I
and I
don't know.
feel
He's always against Chelsea. Which
yeah
the
he's Anthony Taylor, and it's not
I saw him was in 2020. I think it was 2014. I was in UK then. It was 2000 and 2014. He was still young. He's not all that tall. And it's not like, Howard Webb. You see the imposing
yeah exactly
he different way he started, like slim, a little bit. Yeah. And it was against Aston Villa. Chelsea, I think it was Chelsea Aston Villa, and Chelsea lost the game. But I could remember I think he wants to be different. There's a way he referees it. Like it's not
is
the regular.
yeah
I
there's
don't know how.
something wrong. I feel
I don't like it, but they regard him so highly, though.
yeah in
But
terms of referees that's I think it's good, but I feel the relationship between Anthony Taylor and Chelsea Football Club it's getting to a point where it's silly. Like
I don't know how
it
he keeps refereeing Chelsea games. I won't lie to you.
it's not because I understand that there are not a lot of referees.
Was it the one that sent off Gusto against Villa last season also? Mhm.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's the same referee against I feel 2 years ago where against Tottenham where Cucurella has his hair pulled on a set piece, but he
Yeah,
doesn't give a
yeah,
foul.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's said
The way
he's
I ask, is it the same law? I don't know where he gets his own.
I feel it's because like yesterday, and I hope it's something that everyone talks about and they try and find a way to go about because yesterday wasn't a tough game, it wasn't a fiery game where there was need for 14 yellow cards. It was in a game where you give the Chelsea manager, the Bournemouth coach, and the Bournemouth fitness coach yellow cards. I feel it's just bad. So because there's a balance you have to have where you control the game. You allow players to express themselves. You allow certain things to go by. I can always understand about. I feel a lot of the cards he gave yesterday were very unnecessary, and it didn't help. But I feel I'm just happy Chelsea got 3 points. That's something we can talk about another day. But I felt with Chelsea 3 points, you build again. You see a lot of work to do. I hope Enzo comes back quickly. When we all see the importance of the team, because Enzo is a player where it's easy to ask that question: what does Enzo do for the team? He doesn't score. He doesn't get assists. But a day like yesterday's where you see, okay, if you're trying to be a possession heavy side, you're trying to build up from the back. You need players who take responsibility on the ball. Players who take the ball. And we saw Palmer. I think Palmer had one of his off days yesterday because he was not getting the ball enough. He was not getting the ball enough consistently. And when you see that's when players like players like Enzo, they get that ball, they get it to the forward players, the better players off the pitch quickly. And if you do that consistently, you build attacks and you ultimately get great chances and you win the game. So I just feel for people who have doubts about Enzo, I'm not saying he's not a perfect Premier League player, but there's a lot of positive and there's a lot of value he brings to this Chelsea team where you miss on days like yesterday, you miss him a lot. So I just hope a lot of Chelsea fans actually notice that and give him his credit when he does play and play well, in my opinion.
And you watch yesterday's game, you realize that I'm not saying he's better, no, in position, but you realize that you lose Ugochukwu and you have a midfield. You slot in Vega immediately to play that position. He's not as good as Ugochukwu in that position. I'm not saying who's a better footballer,
Well,
but
but
he knows the
Vega,
job.
But what do you make of Vega's performance yesterday? Because I felt it was good yesterday. I felt
Well,
for
it was the
Premier
first
League
time I
debut.
heard about him and I watched his clip and I just felt he's not a left back. Because I always saw he and he's very good with free kicks though. He's very, very good.
He
So I
looks.
felt
I feel
my
like
only fear with him is red cards and penalties because I think he's still growing. But the energy, the this thing, and also yesterday, if you watch very well, also I was impressed. I've not seen him do it in Chelsea for a long time. Levi Colwill, I've watched some interviews where where he says he likes to play passes. There's a pass he gave to, but
to
man, Jackson.
Jackson. To Jackson. Yeah.
Jackson was wasteful like yesterday. This is where I
Yeah.
differ with you. I feel Jackson is better off not starting every day. Like a John Duran kind of role where he comes, does a job. You don't rate him. People are raving about John Duran. He only has 5 goals, but he has like
Yeah.
6 stars or something. So
Yeah.
I-
But
I'd
like
rather have yeah.
the thing with John Duran is like there's a reason he doesn't start for Aston Villa, and I think Unai Emery spoke on yesterday because if you start with John Duran and Watkins, he said you miss a player between the two lines because he always plays like he plays. So far, this has been Watkins and Morgan Rogers who can drop a bit deeper into those spaces between the opposition midfielder and centre back. Well, I agree with you. Like Jackson needs. He's not clinical enough, but he needs that other player that can come on.
Because
Like yesterday, where
the turn Kuku did.
yeah, no, I feel no,
Jackson can do that turn, but
but
Jackson will not score that goal.
Jackson will get that finish. I agree with you. I agree with you.
Can do.
Jackson can create the opening, but I don't think he gets that shot away.
No, no, no.
And
You place it.
but I know, but it's but that's what it's all about. Where you have a good squad. Where on this day, Jackson could not get it done.
But
You bring
also
on the
at the
quick
same
one.
time, I've watched games when Kuku maybe is a lone striker. I think he
And
can be frustrated. He's going to
exactly. It's one of those. And I feel the
because
best
it's not easy to judge. You watch Neto yesterday, he was dead, but you watch him against Wolves, he was alive.
was
So
fantastic. So
you now start
it's
you start
games.
yeah,
It's
you.
different games. Like against Wolves,
But the
there
sport
was
Chelsea is the reason why I keep saying that
it's good.
perhaps someone will say they can't make top four. I'm not saying they will, but if they don't, it's a disappointment because if I'm looking at those qualities, I can call on 4 players who can come from the bench and make an impact. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
If I
I agree. Yeah,
I expect something better. Dizazi to me doesn't deserve it. Get a young player if he's not ready to play.
this
My
that's
team,
it's
I think it seems better than Fofana. What do you have to say about it? He looks
uh,
more.
no. I think with the Stars it's one of those situations where some coaches will in time of need where you need a player to come off the bench or to make that change to your starting 11, you bring in the senior player or the perceived senior player. You give him the opportunity. But I feel the coach has a lot of doubts with this Stars because we didn't really see him preseason and we've only seen him so far in the Conference League. And I feel he's settled on Colwill and Fofana as his defensive partnership. And with yesterday's performance, I know it's a centre back and right back, but it's still the basics of football where you get the ball,
Mhm.
you find the pass, you look, he lacked a lot of composure and control yesterday. It was very, he couldn't, I don't think he did anything right yesterday. So, in the situation with even like Mudrik as well, where you see Mudrik against Wolves, Mudrik starts that game, but you take him off for halftime, Neto comes on, Neto does the business. This is where you give certain players the opportunity to, you give them enough rope to hang themselves, metaphorically. Where if Disasi doesn't play again this season, he'll know why.
Yeah,
And
you know what?
we don't need to have that between the coach and the player. We don't need to have that discussion about why I'm not getting games because
Having watched Sancho yesterday, if I'm Modric's agent, I'm looking at a loan in January.
yeah, I feel that's what it's going to look like because
I have and I have Sancho on that
yeah,
side.
yeah.
I have Noni Madueke on the other side, and maybe Palmer or Nkunku, whoever is on the other side. Because I watch, you don't judge a player just on one game. Because if you watch Sancho, I was against the signing. The problem I have
Yep.
with Sancho is that he doesn't give me enough. Like he doesn't look
It,
like he. Like,
Yeah, especially United. Well, the problem I had with Sancho, like he didn't play with a lot of intensity in his actions. So yeah, he wasn't really convincing. He couldn't beat players. He wasn't taking on players. He couldn't beat players. But
yeah,
also,
that is his
I
main
know,
thing. I
yeah,
don't
he
know why,
wasn't.
because he feels reluctant to take players on.
But also, it's also important to add that at Manchester United, very few players have gone to that club with their reputations and come out with that reputation they had intact. Where you see players like Casemiro go there, Varane, Di Maria, Paul Pogba, the list is long. Where you see them, they go there, they just can't get or maintain a certain level at Manchester United. So it's one of those things. Personally,
Hold
I
on,
wasn't.
apart from Fernandez and Meno, I don't think
That's the
anybody.
problem. No,
Everybody.
exactly, exactly. That's the point. That's the point.
I'm just
I feel
everybody
it's
have
only
had
two players.
Spanish from Luke Shaw to Martinez. Like they are
To
not really
Rashford, you see even players like if it's not on the pitch, you see
like
players having
Chelsea
problems
from time ago. Yeah,
off the
everybody.
pitch. It's
Yeah,
something.
doesn't mean the system is right. You can have one very good player, but some players need the system to be right in order for them
Yeah,
to.
exactly. And it's just and I feel I just feel like with United, it's easy to look at Sancho in isolation and see with especially with the rift he had with the coach last season and with the statement he put out. But it's just a problem. I feel like most United players they all struggle, and I felt again with the price tag, with their overall perception of the player as well. Because we have to be honest about there's a certain tag Sancho has in terms of his off the pitch um, misdemeanor offenses, but that's for another day. But I feel with Sancho, this is and when Maresca spoke about this in his pre-match press conference, he said he had a conversation with two of them, Sancho and Felix, where he told them like, "I want you in the team, but if you don't work hard, you're not going to play." And I felt that was a very important point to make because these two players they are on a they are distressed assets. They've not had the best couple of years at their, whether on loan at different places or at their original club. So it's this somewhat like a second chance for them, or in fact, people with Sancho probably a final chance at a top club like Chelsea, where you have to try and get the best out of your talent. Because Sancho has talent, there's no doubt in it. But it's how do you transmit that talent to your on the field performances consistently? And I felt like yesterday was a good start, and I hope he builds on that. And that's only going to make it hard for a player like Mudrik to get games for Chelsea. Probably, I feel I'm going to I'm going to have to name Mudrik going forward, Mister UEFA Conference League, because I feel that's where he's only going to get minutes so far. Because it's just
You also
and
forget that. You also forget that maybe it's just early, but going forward, also there's a player I'll have on my bench in so many games to have him because he can play very.
he's a
Can
weapon.
Kani
Yeah.
Chukwemeka.
Oh, I
I
love
don't.
Kane.
But you
You
understand what I'm
know.
saying? Because if I'm
Yeah.
naming you, I'm not having in mind he's playing on the left, on the right. You can put him wherever. You understand what I'm trying to say? I
Yeah.
don't know
Yeah.
the problem with the coach. And
No,
is it
because
really? I think it
no,
is that.
it's no, it's cause like and again with Maresca, what I've loved with Maresca, like he's very upfront if you ask him questions, and he said like he said it on Friday with regarding Kane Chukwuemeka. He said that the truth is Chelsea have a lot of players in his position, or where that's number 10 left wing central midfield, and for a player that has missed a lot of football in the last 2 years, it's important for him to go out there and play 20, 30 games this season. So and with that on that point, I agree because I feel for even with Ogochukwu, I feel with players that like that who've missed a lot of games, they are still young, they are still developing, they need to play football games. If you if you compare these players with another Chelsea midfielder on loan, Andre Santos, where he's playing games in France, he's winning, he's scoring goals, he's winning player of the month awards consistently there. These guys need to play games. I know you can say whether Chelsea can play them more or keep them, but ultimately, for their own personal development, they need to play games.
Well,
They
you as
need,
an individual,
and I feel I don't know what his situation is, whether he's fit or he's injured. I don't know, but I feel with Kane needs. Honestly, I don't care about the level. I feel if it's even in the Championship, the Eredivisie, Bundesliga, I feel you should have gone out on loan to a club that will play him consistently. Because it's different when you go out on loan. Because we saw even with players like Loftus Cheek.
there's something special with Villa Academy. every player they bring out is not really bad. I look at Timmy Webuna, I look at Kane,
Yeah,
I look at Acha. Like
you look
Acha
at
might not be
Archer.
all
Yeah,
you understand what I look at Rogers. There's another one that played with Rogers yesterday. The two of no Rogers is not Villa.
no,
Rogers is
Rogers, Man City.
but,
Rogers is Man City.
but there's someone else that was with Rogers
Yeah,
yesterday.
there's the right back. There's one right back. Bogard.
Bogard, I might be,
Yeah,
it might. I want to check if it's waiting Bogard's son. I don't know. I'm
yeah.
just that's the first thing I think of my. I'll
the,
have to
inf-
check. I
the,
forgot
the infamous Justin Bogard. Yeah,
because he was
but
playing at the time. No, but there's
yeah,
something really, really special that they do over there in Villa because you look at Canis, they are doing good. Okay,
that's special. Yeah, I think let's. I think
let's
we
move to
still
the
have.
next one.
Let's
Okay,
move.
United yesterday beat Southampton. It was a 3-0. I think it was game played at St. Mary's, right?
Yes, at Mary Stadium. Yes.
It was at St. Mary's Stadium, and then United uh, they deserve the win. But this is the difference between the two. I'm not being critical, but I'm just being realistic, right? Why I feel Chelsea's win is massive is there are some teams that even if they lose, they have a structure. Brentford is that team. Bournemouth is that team. Fulham is that team.
Exactly.
Chelsea
Yeah.
keep beating Fulham, but you understand what I'm saying. This
Yeah,
is so
exactly.
if
Exactly.
those teams you are doing. Southampton is a little bit different. Not just that you're expected to beat them, but they don't really. There are some good players there. I liked the guy that won the penalty for them.
Yeah.
Just
Tyler Diblin. Yeah,
Dibbling or
Tyler Diblin.
something like
Yeah.
that.
It
Yeah.
was. Yeah. It
And to
was
me,
electric.
Buchuku wasn't bad. Although
Yeah.
I will look at him and tell him that the goal he was supposed to score, there was a chance. It's
Yeah. He
almost the
missed
same.
it. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to put in those kind of. But I like the way you see the way he went at Mino beginning
Yeah.
of the game. Yeah,
It was. Yeah.
yeah,
The
yeah, yeah.
targeted man on the first half. In the first
Who was
20. Yeah.
partnering in the midfield? They could have had what
Um.
over there. Who was
Yeah.
partnering him?
Exactly. And I think if you like going on with Southampton, like if you look at the squad of the squad is
I like the
very
right back though. Is it Japanese guy?
is
Sumara.
a someone
And they have
yeah
what
someone
although the problem their defense I don't think is very problematic. They are not good. They were relegated with Ben and Walker
Bernard
Cooper. I get
yeah
it. Yes, they were relegated. But at the same time, I think the problem is at the striking position and in midfield. The defense can a little be I don't tip Leicester to go down when I tell people they will stay up. And the reason is that I'm looking at Vardy.
you
And
look
I
at
wanted
Vardy
to tell you, I'm
you
looking
look
at
at the
the
attacking players
he's
yeah
not playing like an attacking midfielder. I was thinking he's going forward. So I'm looking
it's creating chances too yeah
yeah. I have to think of putting my pharmacy, but I have to look at the yellow cards he gets. But I looked at yesterday, I'm like, yeah. So I'm looking at Vardy. When you have Vardy, when you have Mavidi, something is it what's how do
you
they
have
pronounce it?
you have Stefan Mavidi you have Abdul
I
Fattah you have
have to check his roots.
Mavidi yeah you have
Like
yeah he looks it
yeah.
but that's the point where you have players like Jamie Vardy Ndidi you have a goalkeeper that's solid and stable. You have players like Ricardo Pereira, who hasn't played much this season. You have a
Yeah,
balanced midfield.
yeah, yeah,
In
yeah.
you have about with Oliver Skip and
Wings,
Riggs.
yeah, yeah.
But I feel like because we spoke about I spoke about Southampton in our season preview, and I felt with what the coach is trying to achieve with this team and the style is trying to get them playing, I just feel they don't have the overall quality in every
To give us
department.
another Burnley. That's what
But
I'm
exactly,
looking at.
I just feel they won't they will because I feel yesterday they created chances that first half. That first, I feel like the first 20 minutes because I have it on my note. I feel like Eric Ten Hag had he had 2 weeks to prepare a team that could perform well, especially after coming off their last defeat against Liverpool. And that first 20 minutes for Manchester United, especially I saw the lineup. I saw Eriksen and Kobe Meno starting in midfield. I said this is not good. You can't at this level you can't go away with Kobe Meno and Eriksen and ask Kobe Meno to put out fires and cover a lot of ground for players like Rashford, Ahmad, Fernandez, and Eriksen. It wasn't good. And in the first 20 minutes, or sorry, the first 12 minutes, Southampton were all over them. They couldn't, Manchester United could not string passes together. They were missing. There's a lot of frustration growing in Manchester United. they look like they've looked for years under Ten Hag. There was no control, there was no pattern, there was no understanding of what to do. They kept missing players. They kept having runners at midfield. There was a lot of space. The late while the Torrid international break was good on the day. But I felt Kobe Meno, and I feel there was this key part in that game where Kobe Meno gets a yellow card in midfield for where you see players where they were very aggressive on the way he gets the ball in midfield and they press him instantly. He loses the ball, then he puts his hand on the ball to it's waiting it's a foul, but it's a yellow card. And I felt that midfielder gets a yellow card. Then the play goes on, and the whites or the youngster Tyler Diblin was giving that all sorts of problems, wins a penalty, and that's where the game changes. Where on the day, like you spoke about James Ward-Prowse, a player like James Ward-Prowse on your ranks, having a player like James Ward-Prowse, even Jamie Vardy, where if you have those kind of players or those players with that level of experience and core quality, and not a youngster like Karam Archer who takes that penalty where it
Yeah, and then
was it was a,
you
it
have
was
another Spain guy, Diaz. Like those guys.
Diaz, it's and not of like Diaz that broke the Premier League record for most games played without a win. I think it's about 14 games he's played so far in the Premier League without a win to his name. So it's one of those where that extra experience, that extra quality gets you over line. Because I felt at that point had they scored that penalty, that's a decisive moment in that game where you score that pen, you're playing well, you go 1-0 up, the confidence rises, and who knows what happens when Kobe makes another bad foul, that's a red card on him and he's off and you can win that game.
I would rather have had Fofana with what I've seen last season than
Yeah,
have
exactly.
Acha and I'll have one of Acha.
Yes, because
Yeah,
it's
he could have gotten loan deals or something like that.
the quality. I just feel the quality is not. Because like
And
we
then you
spoke,
go down, they still have Che Adams. Those guys, to me, they always score lots of goals in the championship. Once
that
they come
championship.
up,
No, they're championship players. It's just
Che Adams can become someone else, something.
Kelly Adams and Adam Armstrong.
Sure.
They're championship players. But it's because like we said about with not even Nottingham Forest, where you see the quality, where you have a shaka like Chris Woods, Taiwan Wing, those kind of players, where even if you're favored to go for to have a relegation battle, you have a chance with players that can bail you out in certain games and score goals. And like I have it here on my note is penalty save was in the 33rd minute. Kamacha missed that penalty in the 33rd minute. The league gets his first Man United goal, first Manchester United goal, and the opening goal in the 35th minute. And I felt, and the coach also said after that goal went in, their heads dropped. They didn't know how to play again. There was no response. The crowd was quiet. United get the second goal for with Marcus Rashford, and I felt from there they just coasted to the win. There was no response from Southampton, even until they went to 10 men down. It turned out what could have been an uncomfortable day for Manchester United turned out to be a comfortable win for them on the day where they actually get the third goal, Garnacho, and they create a lot of chances, and the new striker was Zerchi missed. I think he missed a couple good chances to make to increase the scoreline. But with United, it's still another day where we saw a bit of Ugarte when he came on as a substitute. Where he came on, he looked active, he looked lively. But I still feel it's Southampton is a good result, but it's building blocks. And I feel going forward, there's still a lot of questions that will be asked about this Manchester United team and ultimately the head coach. Well, for them, there's a lot of positive they can take today. With Rashford is back scoring, the lead scores first goal. Your attackers, Garnacho scored again. Fernandez had a good game.
Yeah.
Your striker had a good game, could have scored. He missed a few chances. But I
I'm
still feel.
I'm thinking about this is Southampton. Understand? I'm not talking down on Southampton, but I'm just saying.
But this is not where you judge your overall performances as a team. Where and I know because it's one of those ones because like we spoke about Chelsea and we thought like Chelsea didn't get perform well, but they got the win. But I feel this is different because Bournemouth will trouble a lot of teams this season.
Trouble.
And I feel I have Southampton as the team that will go down either at 20th or 19th in the table. So, but United with tougher games coming up against Crystal Palace, West Ham, and Aston Villa in there somewhere with European commitments as well, where you have to rotate the squad. I still feel that midfield, and that's where the problem. That midfield is not. I don't. I personally feel if they need to be more, they need to pack that midfield more. Either you play Bruno Fernandes out wide, you allow him to give him that freedom as a wide player. You play one of Rashford or Garnacho or Ahmad. You build on that. But I feel so far the partnership of Meno, Casemiro, and Meno and Eriksen yesterday, it doesn't look solid enough.
Eric Ten Hag is just a stubborn coach. I will, to consistently keep playing Rashford, I understand that he scored yesterday, but
Yeah,
what if
it's
he does? Like I
it's
don't know. I don't know. You want to prove your point. You want to
yeah,
even
yeah.
the way he ask questions to reporters. He doesn't accept that.
It doesn't help his case. It doesn't help his case. Whenever he opens his mouth, it doesn't help his case.
Yes, but Mourinho always never agreed. He always, instead of accepting, he goes forward with, he doubles down in American terms, like he doubles down, but he doubles down in a legal way that he's going to say something you understand. Like, where did he get this from? Then
Yeah,
Hag
and
said,
it takes like because Mourinho is a very charming person. Where whenever he
yeah,
speaks, you listen. And I feel with Ten Hag is the opposite. Where
opposite.
there's a lot missing in translation with Ten Hag because obviously English is not his first language. But I feel his communication skill is lacking. Where whenever he speaks about the performances or he gets asked tough questions about United's performances and results, whatever he says is not convincing enough because it seems like have you've seen Men in Black where Will Smith they take that laser pen and they flash
Yeah,
it and you just and wipes your memory. It feels like I think he believes whenever he speaks, that's what he's trying to do, just wipe your
yeah,
memory of the performance. Because Mourinho had that skill where Mourinho spoke after press conference after a bad defeat. He makes himself the topic after bad defeats where
yeah,
against the Chelsea United where you get beaten 3-0 against with United against Tottenham. You go to the press conference. Oh, do you know what 3 means? 3 means 3 titles for me and 0 for them. That's what it is. That becomes the story. So you understand? But with just doing that little thing, you forget the story itself becoming about.
Did they play Galatasaray yesterday?
I think Galatasaray played. They won 5. Osman scored his first goal for Galatasaray yesterday.
Oh, I
Yeah, I
miss
think
him.
Galatasaray won. Yeah, but with yeah,
Yeah,
Mourinho, he had that effect of he he absorbed the pressure from the performance of the team or performance of his players. But with Ten Hag has the opposite effect. Where whenever he speaks, it, it makes it clear that something is missing here. Whether because if he believes what he's saying in terms of their performances and they're playing well, everything is rosy. They get sometimes they struggle to get results, but they get results, but not in a convincing way. If he believes what they've been doing in the last 2 years is good enough, that's a big worry for Manchester United and a big worry for him. But I feel now he's gotten the players he wants in his team. He's improved the squad. We need to United fans need to see more. It's not just results, but you need to see more in overall performances for 90 minutes. Because let's not forget, this is his third season as head coach at Manchester United. We just need to see more. But I think that's it on Manchester United.
I want us next one. Next one we'll talk. I want us to talk about. I want you to bring up some players and some things you notice. Like
This weekend.
yeah, no, not this weekend. The next after we review the
Okay.
Liverpool the not London
Yeah,
derby,
not on the yeah.
because mine is already John Durant goals behavior.
I
Um,
I
you
I have it
have a
here.
lot
I have it here.
are you of Leicester? I'm disappointed. We're gonna talk about
No,
him.
yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk, and I also have so far I already have I have a point on the newly promoted teams. Jamie Vardy, Crystal Palace's McGuehi, and John
Yeah.
Philip Mateta. I feel we need to talk about Mateta at some point.
One, let's end this for now. We'll do a quick one when we come back for the Liverpool game.
Um,
Okay.
not
So
London Derby, yeah.
yeah, not London derby. You have anything for our viewers?
Just I hope you enjoy what you listen to and watching, and if you can interact with the page and the channel and get questions and get more discussions going, that would be fantastic.
Okay, thank you. See you.
Okay,
Bye bye.
so see you. Bye.
Okay.